Before we start, everything that I mention in this video will be linked in the description, or at least as close as I can find to. You've got to be a very similar kind of person to me, because if you're sat there right now watching videos of how people have their desk set up, or while you've got all of your furniture in a mess in the middle of the room, just flicking through videos just to try and find what everybody else is doing. So let's start with the actual desk itself. The actual desk is a flexi spot desk. I've changed the top on it. Originally it came with just a flat black one, and then I wrapped it with some wood lookalike wrap, and then eventually I ended up replacing that with this IKEA desk that's 140 by 700. And I feel like this is like the perfect size for me. I don't feel like I need anything bigger. I've got my iMac on here, I've got my keyboard, I can put my laptop on here without having to smush everything to the back. I've also got my camera set up on the desk. Slight side note, as for the cable management, it's practically non-existent. That's not my strong suit. I should definitely get around to fixing that at some point. I very rarely use it as a standing desk because I'm lazy, but I like having the option. The chair is from Habitat, which you can get from Argos. I think it was 120 quid, but there's one I've got my eye on from IKEA that's, I think, 200 quid odd. To be quite honest, at that price, I think I'm going to stick with this one for a little bit longer. Love that. I just love the colour of it. It's a lovely brown tan leather, and then it's got the black on the sides, and it's a rolling chair as well, so I can just wheel around the office as much as I like, even though I've got carpet. Then just off to the left-hand side of the desk is where I have the main light that you can see that's lighting my face up right now. I use a Godox SL60W. I have used this since I very first started this channel. It has been an absolute beast. It's also remote control, so I can turn it on and off. That was the wrong way around, but you get what I'm saying. I've also got an Aperture Light Dome Mini on it with a honeycomb so that the light doesn't spread all over the office, so that it's more direct towards me. The light stand itself, I'm actually holding on to for a friend, you might know him, Sam Holland, because it was in his way and I needed something that was a little bit more sturdy. This is crazy because I never knew how much a good light stand would just change the way I want to make videos. Having a bad light stand, a flimsy one that'll topple over if you put too big a softbox on it, it makes you not want to make videos because you don't want to move the light around the room to get certain shots because you're afraid of it falling over and mashing all your Xbox and PlayStation up. This light stand, I'm happy to just grab it and move it around the office to get the shots I need. Could not recommend getting a strong light stand more. Moving over to the right hand side of the desk, I have a set of white Alex drawers from IKEA. I opted to put on casters so I can wheel it around the room because I am terrible for constantly rearranging my office. These Alex drawers, they just full to the brim of just bunches and bunches of random stuff. I've got some dividers and organisers in there from IKEA as well. When I very first bought it, it was all nicely organised. Now I've had it for a couple of months. It's not very nicely organised. I really should go through it and fix it. Then moving up onto the desk, I also have a mic stand. This is what I use for practically all of my videos. I have a Rode mic attached to it that I can talk into, and it's just sort of like it gets the microphone a little bit closer to my mouth. This also doubles up as a top-down camera rig. Now, if you want to know how you can do this with yours, I've also made that video. I'll put an iCard up somewhere. That is like the best way to get a budget top-down rig if you're willing to do a little bit of DIY work. Now, the stand for the MacBook, I wanted one of those ones where you could put the MacBook in it and it just sits in nice and flush and it grips it. Everybody else has got them. They always look really cool, but I saw this in IKEA and it was 9 quid. 9 quid. You cannot go wrong with something that's 9 quid. Basically, this is like an iPad stand. It's made of metal and it can hold a set of headphones, a MacBook, an iPad. It can charge your phone. The thing itself can't charge your phone, but it's got a little gap in it so you can feed the cable through. And then there's also a little square tray on the bottom where you can keep things like AirPods. So the MacBook on the stand is a 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's the M1 Pro base model. I've said this before in plenty of videos. I'm still using the same old laptop from maybe a year or so ago. I just cannot physically find a fault with it or a need to upgrade. It is just ridiculously fast. The size of the screen is amazing. I cannot complain. The speakers have always blown me away and still do. However, I'm still annoyed that I didn't get the silver version. I really wished I'd got that. Then moving on to the iMac. The iMac is the 2020 iMac with the i9 core processor in it. I don't generally use this for editing videos because the M1 Pro has a better decoder in it for Canon R5 footage, so it's much smoother to use the MacBook. The iMac I will use for editing photos, and then I've also got Boot Camp on it for playing on DayZ and playing Steam games and things like that. It's a weird one because I kind of want to get the Studio Display and the Mac Mini and just get rid of the whole bulky iMac setup. So for a keyboard and mouse and trackpad, I have Apple's keyboard, mouse, trackpad, all of that sort of stuff. I like using the trackpad and the mouse at the same time because I can double click with the trackpad and zoom in and do different things like that, and then I can use the mouse for my more finite adjustments. Then up top of the iMac, I have a pair of AirPods Max. Apple's audio engineering, whatever they do with their HomePods, AirPods, and AirPods Max, and even the speakers in the laptops, they're absolutely fantastic at getting audio right. And the AirPods Max are no exception. They are ridiculously good. The noise cancelling, obviously using Apple stuff, it all just quickly connects to each other. It swaps over whatever I'm playing audio from. So love the AirPods Max. And now moving on to quite possibly my favourite thing, the Lego Formula 1 McLaren. I've always wanted to put the Lego on the walls because I have so much Lego. I've got the Lego Titanic, the Daytona SP3, Defender, Lego Batman. To be fair, it just goes ridiculously too far. That is the dodgiest way of hanging something on a wall. That thing is held up by one screw, and the screw's just sticking out of the wall, and then there's like this gap in the bottom of the Formula 1, and I just rest it on that. It is sketchy, especially for Lego, something that can fall and just obliterate into a million pieces. Finally, for filming all these videos, I use the PGYTech Mantis Pod on the desk. Now, I don't always use that. I normally do use a full-on tripod to film the main angle talking head section, and then I'll use that boom mic that we talked about earlier. But because I've just recently moved all the desk and the sofa around, I now no longer need to use a full-blown tripod. I can just use the Mantis Pod, sit it in the corner of the desk, attach the microphone to the side, and just press record. And I always love simplicity. That's like my favourite thing. Just being able to sit down, press record, and have the talking headpiece done, and then have fun with it with my B-roll. Again, link in description if you did see anything you liked. Let me know what you think in the comments if you want to see a full-blown office tour. Now, if you like these kinds of videos, this is not the only one that I have made, so I'll leave another one just here for you. City.